have a problem. Hey guys, this is Viktoria, and as you saw from the intro, I have a lot of sketchbooks. And I may have a problem. But let's not talk about that. Let's just talk about the sketchbooks. This won't be like a flip through, so I won't be showing you all the drawings in the sketchbook. I will instead compare them to each other, and I will compare them from this list I've made. So I will talk about the size, and since I'm European, I will be talking in A5 and A4 terms. And even though I have some sketchbooks from the United States, which means they won't be having these dimensions, I will still try and compare them to these dimensions, and hopefully that will be helpful for you. Then I'll talk quickly about the binding, if it's ring bound or hardbound or a soft cover. Then the price, because I think that's important to know if this is a lot of money you spend on a sketchbook that may or may not be a good quality or what you hope for. And then I'll talk about the paper, which, if possible, I'll talk about the weight and also if it's suitable for watercolor, maybe how many sheets, and also the texture. When I talk about the paper, I will also talk about if it's see-through, which means, like with this one, if you can use both pages, like both sides of the paper, and also the color of the paper. And maybe I'll talk about something else that pops up. So I can't make this video without saying that yes, I am probably a bit biased, and you may see when we go through all my sketchbooks that I have a type. An A5 is what I prefer. Also preferable a hardbound one. I don't really like spiral bound, but that's okay. And then I really want something that can hold watercolor. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so from one expensive sketchbook to another. It might be a bit pricier than the Moleskine one. This is the paper blanks one, so it's the ultra format, which means it's bigger than the A5. I don't know if it's maybe a B5. So this has a really pretty cover, and it reminded me of the wardrobe from the Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So I was like, I want this one. And I don't think actually they make like unlined ones like this anymore. But yeah, it stays flat when you have it open. It's an off-white color. So yeah, 144 pages, and it has this fancy pocket. It has this elastic, so you can actually close it and put this one on. For some reason, the elastic is put inside, which is nice, but also when you have to open it, then you have to put it in here. I don't know. Paper blanks, this is pretty expensive, and I don't think I would recommend this one, to be honest. Well, again, it depends on what you're using it for, because you can definitely use it to draw in. I used ink here, it did pretty well here. Here, colored pencils. I'm not the best with colored pencils, so don't judge the sketchbook because of this. In general, it does well with colored pencils, and a standard fine liner with a Copic marker. It does very nice here as well. Of course, it bleeds through. Water-based markers. Streaky as well, but it doesn't show that much through, and in general here it doesn't show that much through. It doesn't do well with dip pen ink, but watercolor, that's a no. No. As far as I remember it being like a very weird experience, like the paper wouldn't really take the water to it. So like the color and the water would kind of sit on top of the paper, and then it would eventually dry, but it was impossible to actually color it in. So I wouldn't use watercolor with this one. It doesn't, like, it kind of goes through, like you can see a bit through the pages. I don't mind that, but if you do, then maybe this is not the sketchbook for you. Even when it's just pencil, you can see it through. But that's my thoughts on this one. I think they're really pretty, but maybe not for me. The watercolor experience kind of scared me away from this one, to be honest. But otherwise, because the price, this one doesn't feel like a sketchbook you can just casually sketch in. But if you're not a student and have a normal job and maybe get a little extra, then definitely you can buy this because they look pretty. Yeah, that's this sketchbook. This one, you probably know this one because a lot of people uses this one. Everyone talks good about this one, and let me also talk good about this one. Okay, so size. This is American, so you can see this is 9 inches times 12 inches, or which is 22.9 centimeters and 30.5 centimeter, which is bigger than a normal A4. This is a 60 sheet paper. It's 160 gram. And they say that this is acrylic, watercolor, pen, and pencil. And also the pages are perforated, so you can actually take them off. And here I got into the habit of actually testing the paper before I went in. This is ring bound. The size is nice and big. I bought this one while I was in California, in San Diego, and I bought it at a store called Blick art store. I was there with a friend. Like, she became a member of their store, so we could get it a bit cheaper. So I can't actually remember what they cost, maybe around $10, because this is not something easily found in Europe. I don't really use this one because I feel like I have to preserve this one and I can't just waste it. As you can see here, watercolor is a bit questionable sometimes, but overall it's pretty okay. Ink is also very nice. The paper is nice and thick. It has a bit more tooth to it, so it's definitely not smooth. It has a nice whitish color, maybe a bit off-white, but not too much. So here's the thing about this one though. The back side of the paper doesn't feel like the same as the front. The back doesn't feel like it can take the same amount as the front, and I will show you. Here is like watercolor on the front. Then you can see here, this is ink and it's streaky on the back side. You can see the streakiness is definitely not as bad as this one. Because the paper is thick, you don't really see through, which is nice. If you just use dry materials like pencil or colored pencils, then you can easily use both of these sides. Ink is also okay here, so this is a pretty nice sketchbook, and I wish it was easier to get here in Europe, because it's a ring bound and it's pretty big, but I would definitely buy more of these. This is watercolor as well. The paper buckles a bit. I think if you can get your hands on this, it's definitely worth a try. I don't know if they make smaller ones. I think I've seen other cans in XL smaller, but don't quote me on that. I think this is pretty nice, and it deserves the praise that people gives it, because it is a really nice sketchbook for both for casual sketching, but also for more finished pieces. That's the Canton Mixed Media XL. So another one I bought while I was in San Diego is the Render sketchbook. The Crescent Render. No show-through paper. They even have like compare. You can see the Render no show-through paper. There is no show-through. And competitors paper. There is show bleed-through. Sketchbook used with all media. It's acid and lining free, heavy white paper. It's 180 grams, 48 sheets, which is 96 pages. It is 5.5 inches and times 8.5 inches, which is 14 centimeter, and 21.6 centimeter, which should be around an A5, a bit taller. It is made in the United States. It is also from Blick. Maybe this was $12 or $15. What they advertise with this paper is that you can use Copic markers and alcohol-based markers in general, that it will never show through on the paper, and in general whatever you put in will not show through. I haven't used this one very much. I mostly used this for markers when I was testing this out, and yes, the paper is very smooth. It's an off-white in a more grayish kind of way, and it's very thick. I feel like the binding is hardbound and it doesn't lay as flat as I would like. It doesn't show through at all, as you can see, which is what they advertise for, so that's good. I haven't used watercolors in this. As far as I remember, I feel like there was 1 or 2 problems with this one. I think maybe, and don't quote me on this, but I feel like I remember that maybe the pencil pocket brush pen it feathered out, and I also feel like I can actually see that it feathers out a bit here. And I also remember there was something about when I colored in with the markers, the paper kind of became like an off grayish tone. And you can definitely feel like this paper has like an undertone of grayness to it. So when it becomes wet, it goes darker, the paper, which means the color also go like grayish, but then it softens up again and then it dries and then it's this nice color. So that is definitely a thing to be aware of. They also have more sizes of this and also ring bound. I like the size. I would have to use watercolor in this and maybe you'll get an update on this one. So this next sketchbook, I think it cost around 60 kroner, which is, yeah, about maybe $9. It's from B&T, which is the same as this one, but this one is B&T Home line, so I don't know. I think I threw out the thing because it also had a wrap that actually showed how much, like the grams of the paper. It has the moleskin pocket, which is actually big and nice on this one, and bookmark. The paper is very smooth and very thin. Even this very faint polychromos pencil you can see through. So yeah, there's that. It has a nice off-whitish color, yellow tone, and as you can see, the size is a bit smaller than an A5. The binding is hardbound and it lays flat. I've only used pen and pencil and water-based markers in it, but it's been doing fine with this, but it is see-through. You can see what I've been drawing on the other papers. I don't think watercolor would be a very good thing in here, but otherwise this is actually a really nice sketchbook. So yeah, this is for the price. I don't feel like this is any better than the Tiger ones, which is 20 kroner. This is 3 times more than the Tiger one, and the Tiger one is just as good, if not better. This is not the one I would go for in terms of price and what you get for the quality. This one has another feel to it, so that's nice, I guess. So that's it for this time. I hope that you found this informative or helpful in some kind of way. And as you can see, I have many more sketchbooks to go through. So please give this video a like and subscribe to see more when they come out. Bye!